Hello everybody, my name is Jerry Strickland and this is my final journal entry for our assessment and testing class. So the first question is go through at least 5 dimensions and describe how you would observe and inquire your client to assess each domains. So in other words, what would you be looking for in your observation and what would you ask the client? So some domains I would look at would be appearance and behavior, and that would mainly have me focusing on the client's body habits, their eye contact, their interpersonal style, and their style of dress. This will allow me to get a good feel for the client. Also seeing how their anxiety is as far as most of the time you can see like how anxiety plays and depression plays on a person as far as their physical appearance goes, as well as if they're having a psychiatric episode. So the appearance is something I definitely would assess. Their mood and affect. So that would be dealing with the emotional state of the patient or the client. And I would assess that by asking them, how is your mood today? How are you feeling today? Have you felt sad? Have you felt discouraged lately? Have you felt energized or out of control? Things like that. I will also go over their motor activity, which will focus on their facial expressions, their movements, their posture. This will allow me to be able to assess their body language, so that way I know if something could be triggering to them, something could be anxious, could make them anxious, things of that nature. And the final 2 would be, I would assess their memory. So recalling past events. Oftentimes when we are facing trauma or facing troubling events, our memory can play an impact on that. With that, I would ask them questions about their birthday, who their parents are, when they were born. I would also ask more detailed questions about experiences they have had in the past. And then lastly, I would assess their thought content. So it's what the patient is thinking. Are they having any delusions, any hallucinations, any obsessions, phobias, suicidality? And with that, I would ask them, do you have any thoughts or images in your head that you cannot get out? Do you have any irrational or excessive fears? And do you think people are trying to hurt you in some way? So that is the 5 dimensions and how I would observe, or how I would observe them with my client, and what would I ask my client. The next question says, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being very uncomfortable and 10 being very comfortable, how comfortable are you with discussing suicide with a client? I would say I am at a 7. I'm not opposed to it. However, I am not thrilled about it, because I just feel like I don't want to be I don't want to kind of push someone over the edge. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's a very delicate situation when you're dealing with a client who is having suicidal ideations or death ideations. And I recently learned those are 2 different things. What about conducting a suicide risk assessment interview? I don't know if I think I will be more of on a 1 with the suicidal risk assessment, because I feel like, I don't know if I would be ready for that, honestly. I don't have a concrete reason for it. I'm open to trying whatever comes my way. I never say no to anything, because it's always as to your experience. However, I'm just thinking in the state of mind now, I'm kind of I think I probably would feel a 1 with that. Okay, what 3 things could you do to help you become more comfortable? Practice, 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 and experience. So practicing working with individuals who have suicidal ideations, kind of similar to what I do now, which is crisis work. So I work with individuals who are in crisis. I often interact with individuals who have suicidal ideations. So it does give me some kind of practice as far as getting a better comfortability with people who have suicidal ideations. So I'm hoping that it increases, but practice and just experience with it. And patience. And kind of detaching yourself from the situation. I mean, it's good that we do that anyway and as being counselors, but it will really be helpful when we have clients who have suicidal ideation, so that we don't connect it to our own lives. Okay. And then it says, if a client walked into your office and said they are hopeless and don't want to live anymore, what would be my first 2 steps? So my first 2 steps would be having the client identify why they feel that way. What was the cause of them feeling that way? What could have possibly contributed to that? And then my second thing would be creating a plan. So more so working with the client on what could we do, because you don't want to just put on yourself, what could I do? No, you need the client to know, like, you have to put the work into. So what could we do so that way you are feeling more supported, so that way you no longer have the suicidal ideation, or how can you be supported to feel more secure with staying on the earth? That's how I would go about it. Okay. Question 3. Identify what risk factors that correspond with each letter of is path warm. So is path warm, so the I stands for suicidal ideation, and the S stands for substance abuse, the P stands for purposefulness, the A stands for anger, T, trapped, H, hopelessness, W, withdrawal, A, anxiety, R, recklessness, and M, mood change. And then lastly,